concession agreement that they have been granting to their client at the airport to proceed to engage the people for the transaction. Mr. Chairman, PPA wrote back, which I have a copy of the PPA to them, which I can handle, telling them that what they were seeking to do, that is a rental thing that not fall within their payment, that they should use their administrative processes to engage the people. So they went ahead and had a normal contract that they have been, like I said, they have been having with their client at the airport and engage the people to undertake the laboratory services testing that they are doing at the airport. So, Mr. Chairman, basically that is why I know about this frontier medical services matter. Thank you very much.
So have you cited the contract between Ghana Airport Company and the Frontier Healthcare Services?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've started the contract, and if anything, I can hand it over to the House.
So upon demand, you can make this available to us?
Rightly so, Mr. Chairman.
Can you enlighten us a bit on this procurement issue? You are saying that they wrote to PPA, and PPA responded that the services or the nature of the agreement falls outside of their mandate in accord with law. Are you able to explain a bit of that? And if the letter is here, you have it, can you read it? Yes, to us.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Ghana Airport Company wrote to PPA, and on 26th of August 2020, the headlines read, re-approval to rent office space at Terminal 3 Company, Terminal 3-Company to test for COVID-19. Mr. Chairman, the letter reads, we acknowledge the receipt of your letter reference GL 1256946 dated August 25th, 2020 on the above subject matter and have digested its contents. However, we advise that the rental of office space and in this particular case being rented out to another company falls outside the scope of the Public Procurement Act at 663 as amended. The Ghana Airport Company is therefore requested to use administrative procedures to execute this transaction. We count on your cooperation. The Managing Director, Ghana Airport Company Limited.
Chairman, just a follow-up to the Honorable Deputy Leader's question. What you read, your own heading, rental of office space, is that what you are referring to as the frontline health workers procurement contract?
Yeah.
Rental of office space. Are you equating that to a procurement process which allowed for Frontier to be taking $150 million per Ghanaian traveler, $150 per Ghanaian to undertake COVID? Rental of office space. Is that the same thing as procurement process to get that transaction done?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Ghana Airport Company only rents space to people who operate at our port. So what we could do, or they could do at that time, the people at our port, they need a space for that function, which they wrote to PPA to grant them the permission to run the space.
So, Chairman, agreed. You tender that in evidence for our purposes. You are suggesting to this committee that the contract to which the deputy leader asked you, and you said, yes, you have cited it, the contract is about renting of office space and nothing more. Am I correct in suggesting that?
Yes, indeed, Mr. Chairman, that is so.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable nominee, do you have a copy of the contract with you, please? Please look at the charges, if there is any provision for charges, and apprise us as to. I want to follow up on the leader's question. that the renter, because according to you, Ghana Airport wrote to PPA that it wants to undertake this transaction with another company. They need the approval under a particular provision. They write back saying that the nature of the services you should use your internal administrative procedure. Now look at that contract you have before you, the aspect relating to charges, if there is, and in detail give us in each category what charges or what revenue Ghana Airport Company is supposed to get or generate from this, so that we will know whether it is only rental of office space or the Ghana Airport Company is benefiting from other charges apart from the renting of the office space.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, per the contract that I'm having, I can't cite any charges in this contract. What I normally know is that Ghana Airport Company get royalties from all their clients at the airport. That is all.
Chairman, Chairman is actually after Chairman. Minister,
if it's a rental space, what do you call royalties? Are you referring to rent?
Then you should read which aspect. Read all the charges.
And then, Chairman, just to what Honorable Deputy Leader have asked, Minister Designate, when you are reading the contract, probably you may not have the kind of training the Deputy Leader or the Chair or I have. Read the recitals of your contract for our record. We want you to read contract between, give us the names with the date. Thank you for our records.
Mr. Chairman, it reads so: agreement between Ghana Airport Company Limited and Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited for the provision of COVID-19 testing service at the airport arrival Terminal 3, Kotoka International Airport, Accra. Mr. Chairman, let me check purpose of contract terms agreement. Mr. Chairman,
there should be a revenue portion.
Yes,
Mr.
Chairman, 4.21. Now the Honorable Deputy Minister is asking for, state that whatever the Ghana Airport Company, GACL and LANCC recognize that this agreement has been necessitated by COVID-19, and given the national emergency, have agreed that the LANCC shall pay GACL $10 per test conducted. That's all.
And what are the charges again? What other charges?
Mr. Chairman, I will come back if I find any charges again. But
Honorable Member, you said you can give us copies.
Yes,
do you have extra copies with you?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I have extra copies.
If you have extra copies, can you give?
No, I don't have an extra copy. When I finish the transaction, I can.
Oh, very well. I thought you have extra copies now, which we could look at.
What is the validity of this contract, please? Yes, when
it's for 2 years.
Now, it came up strongly that the company, Frontier Healthcare Services, is not even a registered company in Ghana. From what you have seen on the document, the contract, is it stating Frontier Healthcare Services Ghana Limited, or does it appear on the face of the document that this is a registered company in Ghana?
Mr. Chairman, for the information that I have, the company is a registered company in Ghana.
And have you received any briefing with respect to how Ghana Airport Company came to a decision to rely on this company and none other?
Mr. Chairman, per the information that I have, the brief I have from Ghana company was that this company approached them and they proved that they have the capacity to undertake the project. And I don't have any reason or any information again that other company also approached them.
So, is it your case that those equipment from the briefing you received, the equipment they are using at the airport, are not one of such equipment that are being used by other laboratories already in the country?
Mr. Chairman, when PPA, when they approach Ghana Airport Company that they have the capacity to do and that they have the equipment, like I said, they wrote to Food and Drug Authority to authenticate or certify the equipment that they are using. So basically that is what they did. Whether the other people are using other facilities, I do not have knowledge about it.
But I am following up with this because there is this strong view that, oh, Noguchi is there doing testing and all that. Why another company doing testing at the airport? Perhaps some people are of the view that, oh, why didn't Noguchi set up at the airport? I mean, it's come up strongly. My colleague Ablako has expressed a strong view, especially the cost. Would you, upon confirmation, impress upon them to look at their charges? We already know that for ECOWAS citizens, by virtue of heads of state coming to a certain agreement, we are enjoying some rebate. But would you consider engaging them to further look at this, since it has become a matter of public concern?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, anything that will make a Ghanaian happy or satisfied, I will do. If people are complaining that the cost is too much, when I'm giving a note, you all sit down, I'll sit down with them, interrogate those figures. If it is possible that they can reduce it, why not? You ask for what is good. One, the quality of the product might be such that it will be able to certify what they are required to do. And if it is possible that they can reduce the price, why not? We also that if we can negotiate with them, I don't have any problem. Now ECOWAS has come out legislating, giving directive that every ECOWAS member should be paid $50, and I'm sure they are complying. So if it is possible that we can have a further discussion with them, saying that non-ECOWAS citizens are complaining. Is there anything that you can do about, based on the job that you are doing? If you look about your cost and you think that you can reduce, why not? You all want to make people happy, and you sit down and you say we can negotiate with them. We'll do that.
Have you had the opportunity to get briefing on what is happening in Nigeria regarding COVID testing at the airport? Nigeria, have you had any briefing regarding how testing is done at the Nigerian airport?
My information is that Nigeria is doing PCR, we are doing antigen. So there are two different things involved. We are not doing the same thing.
Mr. Chair, I shall tell the nominee to letter and have and say, I shall tell the nominee to letter and have as a proper way to remain upright. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You said you tell him to do what?
Mr. Chair, normally all squares and perpendiculars are perfect points. So I'm only asking him to letter and half to remain upright. I thank you.
Very well. That is not English. Yes, Honorable Blacker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to begin by requesting the nominee to have a look at his CV because the name we have from His Excellency the President is quite different from what you have here. Though you tell us you are going to indicate your first and middle names, we only see Ofori. The surname is Asiamah, but your first name appears missing from your CV, or have you done a change of name? Are you now Mr. Ofori Asiamah?
Mr. Chairman, what appears, what I said is what I've just said is true. My name is Ofori Asiamah. Myself and President, we are all Kwaku, so you always want to add Kwaku to my name. So if you did add Kwaku to my name, that is a reason. But my name on my certificate is Ofori Asiamah.
So for the record, officially, can you help us officially?
Mr. Chairman, officially, my name is Ofori Asiamah.
Not Kwaku Ofori Asiamah, as the President informs this committee.
On Wednesday, so my name is Kwaku Ofori Asiamah, but what is on my certificate is Ofori Asiamah.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the nominee will help us, probably working with the clerk, to just clean up a few matters. Page 2, epidemiology. Page 3, the conferences attended in Abuja and other matters. I'm sure that can be clarified and corrected with the clerk later. I want to quickly take off from where the Honorable Afenyo Makin left off on the Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited contract. Can you kindly tell the committee when the contract was signed? The contract before you, what is the date? When was it signed?
Mr. Chairman, the contract was signed on the 1st of September 2020.
So the contract was signed on the 1st of September 2020, which is the same day they began operations, because the Ghanaian airspace was open on the 1st of September. You are telling this committee that the contract was signed the same day they began operations. Is that the information?
Mr. Chairman, for the document before me, the contract was signed on the 1st of September 2020. So if the honorable member is saying that,
you know when they began operations?
I can't remember, but I know that this contract was signed. But if he says so, I will not argue with him.
Yes, they began operations on the 1st of September. There are two laws. You've talked about the PPA writing to the company to say that this matter. It's interesting that mere office rental is no longer a PPA matter. But let's come to these two laws. The Health Institutions and Facilities Act 2011, Act 829. Section 11 of this law provides facilities to be licensed. 11.1. A person shall not operate a facility unless the facility is licensed under this act. 2. A person shall not operate equipment in a facility specified in the first schedule unless the facility in which the person operates is licensed under this act. And if you come to the first schedule, for our purposes, this will fall under item numbered I, section 11.2I, clinical and biomedical laboratory. The company started operations on the 1st of September when the airport was open. I have here the certificate that the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency issued, and is dated 3rd November 2020. Have you been briefed as to how come the Frontiers Healthcare Services operated for well over 2 months in violation of Section 11 of the Health Institutions and Facilities Act before they were licensed?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, what I stated, or what I tried to state, was the role that Ghana Airport Company played so far as this concession agreement they have with Frontiers and renting them the space at the airport is concerned. I think that any other thing that they are supposed to do, maybe there are state institutions which are supposed to, maybe the Ministry of Health, I don't know why that happened, but maybe I think that maybe trouble like me.
Honorable, do you know for a fact that at the time they started, they had, is it HEFRA? Honorable Okujeto, is it HEFRA?
Yes, please, HEFRA.
They had the HEFRA registration. Do you know that for a fact or not?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know.
The second law, the Fees and Charges Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2018, Act 983, requires that Ghana Airport Company Limited or the minister in charge of the sector should come to this house. Section 3 of this law is very clear. Before the $150 United States could have been charged. That was not done. Have you received any briefing why this was not done? The Fees and Charges Miscellaneous Provision Act 983, breached.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know. I think that this is a private sector business, and ministries or agencies don't come here to do fees and charges for the private sector.
The question was, have you received any briefing?
No, Mr. Chairman, no, not to my knowledge.
Mr. Chairman, can the nominee look at the signatories of the account? The contract. The signatories of the contract. Can you tell us who signed on behalf of Frontiers Healthcare Services?
The name of the person is Dr. Emmanuel Akwe. The designation is a director, and Ghana Airport was signed by Yakwapa, the managing director.
How do you, honorable nominee, how do you react if I inform you that the incorporation documents which I have here, only 2 directors are listed at the Registrar General's Department? Jean-Laurent Louis and Samuel Banza are the only 2 directors. So the
only 2 directors of who?
Of Frontiers Healthcare Services. The incorporation documents I have here from the Registrar General's Department.
I don't think that's a fair question to him. I don't think it's a fair question to him. He's only giving us a briefing.
Okay. Was the honorable nominee briefed on these directors, Jean-Laurent Louis and Mr. Samuel Banza? Did the GSCL deal with them in any way, shape or form?
Mr. Chairman, I have not been briefed about the directors of Ghana Registrar General's Company.
Mr. Chairman.
Honorable, I've allowed you 5 already. You can have the last one.
Well, Mr. Chairman, since I have only one more opportunity, I will use it on another contract which I have been chasing for a long time now, the Ghana-US Defense Cooperation Agreement. The Honorable Aviation Minister told Parliament that Terminal 1 has been leased for 15 years to McDan Shipping Company. And McDan Shipping Company has entered into an agreement with the United States military. We have been looking for that contract. Have you been briefed on that contract, the Ghana-US Defense Cooperation Agreement, McDan versus the US military base, Terminal 1? Do you have any briefing on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have been briefed by Ghana Airport Company that they rented the down floor of Terminal 1 to McDan Shipping Logistics Company Limited in January 2019.
Please, do you have the contract? Are you able to share with the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a copy of the contract. Later, if you do, I can hand it over to you.
If we approve you, you'll be willing to bring that to Parliament?
Yes.
To ask any questions relating to that, won't you? I want your answer to be on record. You'll be willing to bring it to Parliament for any issues relating to that, won't you? I said, should this committee or Parliament approve you and you are appointed as the minister, you will be willing to bring that contract with McDan to Parliament for Parliament to examine it, won't you?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, why after he's approved? Because it's still the president representatives there. He should be able to get the document before his approval.
Now, he is not the minister who was responsible. He said he had been briefed. He's the president representative of his ministry. The transport then did not include this one. Yes, Yabama.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Honourable Minister, I have 3 questions. for you. In 2004, the government of Ghana signed a contract with the Maritime Port Services to run the Tema Port on a 20-year concession agreement. MPS is a joint venture between GPHA, MPS Limited, which is in turn a joint venture between Bolloré Group and APM Terminal, a subsidiary of Maersk, as the two main shareholders. There's a JV arrangement which gives Bolloré 35%, APM Terminal 35%, and GPHA 30%. There are reports sometime last year, a couple of years ago, that the 30% stake that GPHA held for and behalf of the people of Ghana has been diluted. Can you apprise us on this development at the port with regards to Ghana's stake in that joint venture? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Indeed, it is so that Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, representing government, is having 30% shares in the Maritime Port Services Limited. Like you rightly said, so in 2004, when the agreement was signed, GPHA had 30%. The rest of the partners from MPH also had 70%. Mr. Chairman, in 2012, I think they signed what the lawyers call further amendment to the original contract to execute the Terminal 3, what we call Terminal 3 at the port. My information was that GPHA was supposed to advance some money as part of their counterpart funding, which they were finding it difficult to pay. So the agreement by the shareholders was that if they didn't have the money to pay, but then the other shareholders will pay, then dilute their shares. So that's what actually what happened. So when we assumed office in 2017, the matter came to the attention of government, and we met the shareholders to tell them that instead of them diluting our shares, they should advance us part of our counterpart funding for future dividend, which they did. So now we are able to pay the discussion we have with them. We are able to restore our 30% back. So now GPHA still has 30% shares in MPS.
Okay, so GPHA still has the 30%. That's a big plus for Ghana. Thank you. My second question is on the Maritime Authority. I understand there are two arrangements. As the closed ship registry, and the open ship registry that is practiced in Liberia, which has a lot of revenue prospects for the country. What is your position on this in terms of reorganizing our position as a practitioner of the closed ship registry? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, indeed it is so there are two systems that we now apply when we have the closed registry and open registry. Because Ghana don't have a ship, we used to have the Black Star line, so we didn't allow anybody to flag our flag as it. So we have now, unfortunately over the years, the then shipping line has collapsed. So what we are trying to do with other shipping vessels or shipping lines is that, like you said, Liberia is part of the system whereby they allow other private or other countries to flag their flag as they so that the other they give you golden shares or they have some form of revenue for you. That is why we are having discussion with them. If we're not to be the covered, I'm sure we would have seen one or two ships flying the flag of Ghana. So that is we are having discussion with some of the vessel owners to see that they will come around and do this until such a time that we'll be able to acquire our own ship. Thank you.
It's something that you are considering. Okay, the last question is it's an arrangement between Jean Dunol and Ibistec that a 370 million USD multi-purpose terminal, Atlantic Terminal project in Takoradi, was signed by your good self on the 19th of December 2018. Can you apprise us on this project and how it's going to benefit the good people of this country, or how it has benefited us so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if you look at the Takoradi Airport, it was built in 1928. So definitely the depth of the sea is very narrow. And now shipping lines want a deeper sea so that they will bring a bigger vessels. Then their cost of operation will be reduced. So when we assumed office in 2017, GPHA has already built a quay wall, about 650 meters quay wall, so that we can build upon it to develop in terms of deeper seas. So we took a decision that we will, because we didn't have the money, the investment required to do that project. So we decided to engage private people to see if they can partner GPHA to do it. Mr. Chairman, what is significant about this particular project is that the President insisted that we should let the Ghanaian business people, what we call the indigenous Ghanaian people, we should try and see if they can have the capacity to lead the arrangement of this project. So EBSTEC, which is a wholly owned Ghanaian company, then we approached that, because already they have started something called GPH at Takoradi. They are doing offshore business with them. So we decided that we would try them and see. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, I'm used to speak to the President too. Mr. Chairman, I can speak to the glory of the Lord that they'll be able to secure the funding for this project. If we're not to be the covered, they would have opened to traffic by the middle of this year. But I'm hoping by the end of the year, the first berth should be able to open, and the depth is 60 meters. So it's as deep as the one we're having in Temaport. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Well, Honorable Nominee, I tell you, he does. Because you were not in charge of aviation, it's a matter I'll raise with you perhaps after the vetting. A national carrier and, a flight with state interest, or a national carrier, like we often say, is something that I'm passionate about. And perhaps it is a discussion that we can have after this. But Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I want to read 2 paragraphs of a letter from the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority dated January 11, 2021 to the nominee, and follow up with a question after that. Now, this letter was written to the Chief Executive Officer, Fruit and Export Terminal. The second paragraph is where I'll start from. As we did communicate to you in the said meeting, GPHA has been directed by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, and I emphasize mine, GPHA has been directed by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture to issue a license to Fruit Terminal Company Limited, FTC, to enable them to undertake the handling, stevedoring and shore handling, that's into brackets, of horticultural product exports in the port of Tema. The license is to cover the full scope of activities performed by FTC under the defunct 2009 agreement. Defunct, again, Mr. Chairman, is my emphasis. Agreement signed with FTC, i.e. the stevedoring and shore handling of horticultural products exports. According to the Minister of Agriculture, the directive is informed by the government's desire to promote the development of the horticultural segment of the agricultural sector. The Minister further noted that reports he received from FTC indicate that the birth of FET has created a bottleneck to the exports of fruits through the port of Tema, and that the operations of FET are unduly adding to the cost of shipping horticultural products exports from Ghana. The position of the Minister of Agriculture requesting GPHA to issue a license to FTC is supported by the Minister of Transport. Mr. Chairman, I did emphasize two things because when the Minister of Agriculture appeared before this honorable committee, he denied giving this directive to the GPHA. Again, he said the 2009 agreement had not been referred to as defunct by Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. In this letter that I quote to you, it is said that you with the Agri Minister, even though the Agri Minister told us here that it was a matter you were still discussing together. Here in this letter, we are told that it has been concluded. Now, my question relates to the third paragraph, which reads, we reckon that the directive of the Minister of Agri, when carried out by GPHA, will offend the concession agreement we executed with you on May 18, 2015, which granted you rights to handle the horticultural products and related operations. Unfortunately, we are not in a position to decline the directive considering the source and the motive behind it. There's already a lawsuit or a hint of one written by lawyers of FET. Mr. Nominee, they are hinting at suing us for $50 million plus. What is the assurance to this committee and the people of Ghana that we will not have a needless judgment debt before us based on these directives that have been given to GPHA, which you approve of?
Mr. Chairman, this matter had come to my notice. I don't know when this matter was written. This letter, was written. But Mr. Chairman, this matter has come to my notice about 2 years ago. But Mr. Chairman, my simple advice, not that I cannot speak to this issue. GPHA is a corporate institution. We have internal mechanisms with which these matters are resolved. Mr. Chairman, the danger we are posing is that if we don't take time, anytime such matters do come up publicly, the credit rating of such public institutions are downgraded. They are being treated as a high-risk institution. I will plead with members of this House that this is the matter that I was handling until the election took place. Thankfully, I'm back. Like you rightly said, that the Agri Minister did indicate that he was handling the matter with me. I will plead with the members of this House that they should leave this matter for me. We will resolve the matter amicably, rather than coming to do this thing publicly, which will have consequences on the operations of the GPHA. I can assure members of this House that we started resolving this matter about 2 years ago. We've gotten to what we call a conflict dispute stage, that we were almost always concluding the matter until the election took place. So Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence, I would like to plead with members, the honourable member, that you should be assured that this matter will be resolved. But I wouldn't want to discuss this matter publicly because of the image of GPHA. Mr. Chairman, I would like to plead with you.
All the assurance the honourable member wants is that you ensure that there is no judgment debt against the country.
Mr. Chairman, I think the stage that we go to, we will bring amicable solution to the matter, and there will be no judgment on the GPHA on the state.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick follow-up on that. So is the honourable nominee saying that the January 11, 2021 letter, which seemed to have settled this matter, can be disregarded or should be disregarded because you are still in talks to resolve this matter in a different way, which may not lead to Ghana being sued?
Mr. Chairman, I think that this letter should be disregarded because even on the January 11th, there was no minister responsible for any sector to go in and resolve these matters. Like I said, we have started a resolution to this matter. So please, like I said, you can disregard this letter and you will find a solution to the problem.
Thank you. Honourable nominee, Okada was a very debatable topic before the last elections, to legalize or not to legalize. You indicated that at the time the debate was taking place, you were already in talks with stakeholders to legalize Okada. The news reports suggested so. The Vice President said a different thing to contradict what you were reported to have said. The NDC at the time thought it was about time that we legalized Okada. What will be your approach to this issue of legalizing Okada if you are confirmed by this committee? Will you lead a campaign to legalize it or not?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think that I never said anywhere that you were leading stakeholder consultation to legalize Okada. I don't know what I said that you were doing stakeholder consultation to come to a determination whether we are going to legalize Okada or not. That was the statement that I made. And the Vice President made a categorical statement that as a party and the condition pertaining today, it will not be possible for us to legalize Okada. What we will do is that, yes, we still stand by the position of the Vice President. As the condition pertains today, we will not be able to legalize Okada today because the numbers are not pointing to the direction that we should legalize Okada. Knowing that the issue of enforcement, you see, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to be an ostrich. If there is a problem, we should all point to it. We are having an issue of enforcement in this country. And based on what is pertaining on the ground today, it will be difficult for me to lead to the legalization of Okada. If by tomorrow, thankfully the police are trying to modernize their system of traffic control. If by tomorrow, a year, the conditions in terms of traffic management, in terms of enforcing regulation, becomes conducive, why not? We will assess it. But sitting here today and knowing that enforcement is an issue in this country. And Mr. Chairman, let me tell you one thing. In 2010, the people who died out of motorcycle or tricycle was 210. The 2020 figures, out of 2,500 people who died from road accident, 1,050 is as a result of motorcycle. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, it is, like I said, that's the position of the party or the government today. If by tomorrow the police is able to come out with conditions that will make it conducive for us to legalize it, why not? But for today, what is pertaining, that's the position.
Honorable Minister, when you say Okada, are you referring to two-wheelers or it includes the three-wheelers?
Mr. Chairman, initially, we didn't have the Abubo in the system, so it was the two-wheeler. But the law says, the 2180 says that unless the vehicle or unless the motorcycle has four-wheeler, so it presupposes that the Abubo is inclusive per the definition of the law, because the time that 2180 was enacted, there was no Abubo in the system.
Actually, I can say that some people had brought them in and were seeking to commercialize them. That's why we were specific on the three-wheelers. So we targeted, but there was a specific provision. I was actively involved in drafting of that one, that the three-wheelers should not be licensed for commercial use. That's where the challenge is. If I take it and use for my private purpose, I can ride. The challenge is whether you can use it to carry fare-paying passengers. If you use it for delivery of parcels, food, that is also commercial. But it is when you take fare-paying passengers, that's where the challenge is. But yes, your views are well noted. Yes, Honourable Member, will continue.
Mr. Chairman, you are right. There are more challenges with that law. I mean, when you can use it privately. So I can, with my motorbike, give someone a ride, a pillion ride, as long as I'm not charging the person, then I'm not breaking the law. But once I decide to make money out of the motorbike I have bought, then it becomes criminal. So those are some of the interesting issues with regard to the law. But you have stated that regardless, it will not be legalized. My next question has to do with the controversial Keta port. Keta port. Keta port. Keta port. Yeah, you can, some say Keta. I'm sure you know, Moscow or Moscow. There's a director general. There's a director general for the non-existent port, drawing salary from the people of Ghana. You were in the 7th Parliament and you gave assurances. Yes. He was in Parliament and gave assurances in the 7th Parliament. He was in Parliament, in the 7th Parliament, and gave assurances, yes, thank you, and gave assurances that by the end of 2020, yes, you came to Parliament and you gave the assurance that by the end of 2020, we're going to see some work being done by way of a port in Keta. Can you be kind enough to update us on what the Director General of the non-existent Keta port has been able to achieve so far?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, indeed so, that in 2016, the President made a solemn promise to the people of Volta region that indeed, if he's voted into office, that project, one particular project he would like to execute before his time expires. Mr. Chairman, in 2018, because building a port is not an event but it's a process, I need to take a little bit of time to explain this thing, because I have been to this house, like you rightly said, to explain the processes with which we are following to develop the port. Yet, anytime they keep on asking this particular question. So in 2018, the President declared that particular area after the chiefs and people of Keta, and let me say that, let me thank the overlord of Anglo traditional area for giving us the area for the port. So the President, after the coordinates had been done by GPH and the Soviets, declared the area, the port zone, through the Attorney General's office so it has been published. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, we engaged a consultant because this stage is as important as putting the infrastructure in its place. People are waiting to see that the infrastructure is there. But if you don't go through these processes properly, and you truncate any of them, we are going to have a problem. So GPHA in 2019 engaged Sehon from Germany as a reputable marine consultant to take the feasibility studies or to do the feasibility studies for us. Mr. Chairman, when I came to the house, I did brief the house that by the third quarter to the end of 2020, Sehon was supposed to give us the draft brief for GPHA to pass our comment, and by the March this year, the final document will be with us. So, Mr. Chairman, indeed, around November, December, Sehon presented a draft copy to GPHA. We've gone through, we've given them their comment. They have assured us that by end of February or early 1st March, they will give us the final draft for us to either approve or disapprove it. Then they can issue the final feasibility studies for it. Because like you said, the feasibility studies will determine the level of infrastructure you need to put in place. You see, the marine work is such that, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, if we don't take our time and do a proper work, by putting up that port, the whole coastline will be disturbed. So I will plead with members of this house that the stages that we are going through, or the stage that we are going through now, is as important as putting the infrastructure in place. And I can assure you that between April and May, we will do our market sounding about Keta Port. We will start the market sounding about Keta Port for prospective investors. We will brief them about the port that we are putting in place, and I'm hoping that by the end of the year, we can start the real engagement of building the port. So the process that we are going through now is as important as building the infrastructure itself. And if we don't go through or we truncate any of the processes, we are going to have problems. So, honorable member, I think we are on track. Despite the COVID situation, checking our timelines, we are still on track. And I can assure you that we go to town around June for the procurement process, for the perspective. Whether government is going to build itself with its own, or we will do PPP, or whatever arrangement that we put in place. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
My final question relates to the Ghana Maritime Authority. Ghana Maritime Authority. It was in the news for not very good reasons when the former director was accused of conflict of interest and other related charges. He was asked to, he resigned. It was suggested that he was past 65, and that was the reason why he was resigned. Was his resignation related to the allegations that were raised against him, and you directed an investigation to be carried out? Why haven't you made the report public yet?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, like the honorable member at least says that the man resigned because, according to him, he was 65. I don't know whether he resigned based on the report. But, Mr. Chairman, I think, like he said, right, the board did some work about Ghana Maritime Authority concerning that particular issue. I don't know if the report has been issued or not. If not, I'll find out. Then still, if it doesn't brief the House or do the needful. So that is not of a problem. Thank you.
Yes, Hassan first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Ofori Asiamah, congratulate you. I have obtained the official report, parliamentary debates of Wednesday, 19 February 2020, in which matters relating to the issues that Honorable Ablakwa passionately raised. And the report captures him as having made those observations here in the report. Honorable Soyini also posed some questions on that occasion, including the Honorable Minority Chief Whip. Matters relating to Terminal 1, especially. Related to these, Terminal 2 also came up. And the minister said there was a report that was being generated as far as Terminal 2 is concerned. I don't know whether you have been briefed about that report on what exactly we have to do with Terminal 2. I know we have Terminal 3, which is virtually serving the whole world. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this matter had come to my attention, like you said. The ministry and Ghana Airport Company were engaging some private sector people to use Terminal 2 for some other activities. Unfortunately, the people who came up to take this place for the business that they have earmarked for were hit with this COVID business. So I think the negotiation has stalled a bit because of the COVID. Let's pray. I'm hoping that we will be able to find antidote to this pandemic so that we have our normal life. Then we can then go back and re-engage the people, because we want the private sector people to do that business. They think that their thinking was that they can only make up their investment if we have full operations at the airport. So I'm hoping that when we have full operations at the airport, they will come back again for the negotiation to continue. But we have plans of letting the place or renting it to some private business people to use it for their activity so that we can earn revenue from them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like you to update this committee on current state of affairs of the whole airport, the newly constructed whole airport. What exactly is the state of affairs at the airport right now? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Ghana Airport Company, I think, completed, or the construction was completed in December 2018. In 2019, we had informed the operators, that is Passion and Hour, that the whole airport was ready for them to start for their commercial operation. Mr. Chairman, according to the brief, they also asked for us to give them some time in order for them to do their own assessment and see if they could fly to go. Then this COVID came in. But I can assure the House that Our had approached us again, or Our had approached the ministry saying that by June they will commence commercial operation to whole airport. In addition to that, we think that the whole airport has some advantage, that the way it is positioned, we can use the place to train pilots. So government is partner with the private sector. Even Togo Federal has even approached us that he has some investors that we think that we can use the whole airport for training of pilots. These are some of the options that we are weighing, and we think that we will be able to fund private people who are interested. Other governments, we open up the place for commercial operation that Our had promised us, and we can also have some private sector people who will join us in using it for other training or other for airport facilities that we need to offer to the Ghanaian people. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Eric.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, you have been the Minister for Transport for the last 4 years. Kindly explain to the committee 3 relatively simple and inexpensive measures you rolled out to make public transport more attractive to customers and more efficient to operate in Ghana.
I did not hear part of the question. If the honourable member can repeat it, because
what are your plans? You want 3 or more plans to make public transport attractive to the public, attractive to customers. If you have 3 plans or steps you will take. Oh, in the past. Oh, okay. What you have done in the past to make public transport efficient in operations and attractive to passengers or customers.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if we talk about public transport in this country, they are in 2 sections. We have what we call the private sector people and the government people. So I don't know which area you talk, whether you're talking about the private sector or the government. Because
whatever information you have, private or public,
yes,
are interested.
Mr. Chairman, in terms of public transport is in 2 sections. Like I said, the government will pay public transport, and the
Honourable Minister, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, one, like I said, it is in 2 sections. There's a role that the government can play for the public transport in terms of the government, its role in playing the public transport, and the private sector offering public transport. Mr. Chairman, if you talk about the government role in terms of STC and MMT, when we assumed office, we realized that their fleet was very down. So what we needed to do was to revamp the fleet for the public, the government role in terms of the public transport. As I'm talking about STC and MMT. So for MMT, we will be able to acquire 100 buses for them. STC, we have also be able to acquire 100 buses for them. The government is trying to arrange Korean exim facility for the private sector people. Mr. Chairman, we came to this house. Unfortunately, we could not meet. The Transport Committee could not finish its work early for it to revamp it. So we are not going to only deal with the government institutions as far as public transport is concerned, but also try to help the private sector to arrange buses for them also to help us to. The second thing was, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, 2020 we were hit by COVID. And let me use this opportunity to thank the transport commercial operator for the role that they played in helping government in solving this problem. Initially, we asked them to reduce their intake without additional cost, which they did for some time, and got to a point in time that they could not do it again, and government had to come in to allow them to, in other than that, their business was going to collapse. Mr. Chairman, going forward, because of safety issue, it is also important. We have passed law in this house to say that the National Road Safety Authority should become a regulator in the public transport system to regulate the transport operators. Because hitherto there was not operator, there was not a regulator. So it's rather one thing that I think that we have done in terms, it may not yield physical identity, but in terms of arrangement, in terms of regulation, we will be able to regulate them better to provide the kind of services that we require of them to do. Thank you very much.
Chairman, my second question. You know, Ghana, we produce a lot of gas, natural gas, in the western part of the country. And this question relates to the pipeline transport system. We have some plans in the east, but because of the inefficient pipeline transport system, we are unable to transport gas from the west to the east to feed some of the plants that we have. As the Minister for Transport, what is the state of the pipeline transport system in Ghana, and how do you propose to improve upon it?
What transport system? Pipeline transport. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we are in this. We are working because the gas line is under the Ministry of Energy. We are working together with them to develop this facility that we are seeing. So we've gone far in it, and I'm sure maybe when the Minister for Energy comes here, he will brief you because he is leading that project, and we are working together with them. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, my last question has to do with water transport. The oldest and the cheapest means of transport all over the world is water transport. What did you do in the last 4 years to ensure efficient water transport system in Ghana? Specific.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The water transport system that we have in this country, I can say that it relates to what is on the water lake. Mr. Chairman, when we assumed office, one area that we were facing a lot of challenge was the tree stumps in the lake, which was causing a lot of accidents in the water lake. So Ghana Airport Company, Ghana Maritime Authority, which is responsible for safety on the lake, because if any private sector person is even coming to operate, and this tree stump is causing a lot of accidents for them, they wouldn't even want to come because it's expensive to remove them. So what we did was to have a navigable route of crossover services and remove the tree stumps. So now we have removed the tree stumps in most of this navigable route. So if you realize that the accident on the water lake, in terms of accident caused by the tree stumps, has reduced. I'm not saying that it's completely eradicated, it has reduced drastically. So because of that, we are receiving a lot of proposals from the private sector people saying that now the lake is safe for them to operate. In addition to that, in 2016 or 2017, the government of Ghana, because of the bilateral arrangement we have with Korean government, had proposed that they were going to give us some amount of money for public transport system. When we came in 2017, we pursued it. But the Koreans had then changed their policy in relation to, because they thought that the transport system was not social services enough for them to pursue that matter. So they asked us to rearrange. And the president told them that, look, it was not the fault of the people within that area that they should be cut off from the rest of us. And that is the only means of transportation mode for them. So now we sat down with the Korean government. They did a feasibility studies on this, on the lake. Mr. Chairman, I can say it to the glory of the Lord that they finished the feasibility studies. It was done by a Ghanaian company called Darren Consort. The Koreans have been here. They are satisfied with what we've done with the lake, and they are going to construct a lot of landing site, reception areas, roads, and give us service to make the transportation system on the lake very conducive for the people. So basically, for the 4 years, this is what we've done, and I think that we've done enough. We've paved the way for the private sector to come in to operate the lake.
Yes, John.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to the nominee. One key project that we are highly expecting in Ashanti region is the Buankra Inland Port. I must commend you for the efforts you have put in so far to make sure that you revive the inland port. In fact, on 5th November 2020, His Excellency